Hi everyone, my name is Yqarch from GREYTEST Design Consult. This is my WhatsApp contact. You can reach me on this number. You can call me on any of these numbers. Okay, today I'm going to be showing you 10 different YQ tools that we can use to make our job way more easier and way more faster. It's actually Yqarch is a plugin that you can actually use in your AutoCAD. It has a lot of features. It's actually very great for the architect, and if you're an engineer as well, you can actually leverage on it. So today we'll quickly go into the first tool of today. We are actually going to be looking at the intersecting dimension. I'll quickly show you how to achieve that. All you need to do is to type in your DDXX. So if I type DDXS, I can select this point and I bring, so you can see basically it has given us the entire dimensions of this line. So you can actually use this to achieve your dimension way more easier and way more faster. And you can see it has collect all these dimensions. If you sum up this entirely to this point, it will tell you what you have here. Okay, alright, so let's do a more practical example. You can see this is a floor plan. I can take let's do DDXX. Okay, so if I click on this point and I drag, you can see basically it has given us the entire dimension here. So we can take that again to this point, giving us the dimension here. I can take that again at this point. It has given us the dimension here. Take here to this point. Great, right? So it makes your job way more easier and then way more faster actually. So let's look at auto number. This will actually help us to actually number all of these boxes. These are rectangular boxes. It will give them number. It will number them however we want, whether from the top to the bottom or from the bottom to the top. So let's look at it quickly. If I type ABH and I press enter, now this menu that has popped up for us, we can take our time to do all our settings properly. You can see here I leave it at cycle. The frame mode will be in form of a cycle. I can remove it if I put it on none. Then the first number here is very important. So if I want it to start counting from 0, I can leave it at 0, but I want it to start counting from 1. You can see the step increment is in the increment of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I want it in the increment of 2, I can name it 2. So if I type in 2 here now, the next number is going to be 4, 6, 8, like that, in the increment of 2. That's basically how it is. And then is from the center. So so I will select that of object here. I will come back and I will show you the shape. I will show you how to actually demonstrate that. So if I click on this, I can just highlight the entire object and okay. Once I highlight, you can see the last number here is 29 and then the first number here is 7. So I think it started counting from here. So this is from number 1 here to number 7, and then the last number here is 35. So if you count all these boxes, it will give you 35 number of these rectangles. Okay, so we can do something like this. Let me take that again, ABH, and I press enter. If I select this of shapes, and I can highlight just this portion, and you can see it has actually numbered this starting from 36. You know, the last one there was 35, so it continued there. So but if I don't want it to continue in that way, I can simply just go back and change that number to 1. So if I type ABH, I will change this now to 1. So it's going to start counting from number 1. I click OK. If I highlight this way, so you can see I have 7 here. I have 14 here. So this is basically how to do that. There is a whole lot you can as well do with it that will help you in your design basically. Then there is another one called the TTQ, which is actually collect string, to collect string. So if I type the TTQ and I press enter, I can highlight the whole of this and I will press enter. Now it will ask me of where I want to drop this, so I will select here. So once I click that, you can see it's telling us doors and windows schedule is just one. That's the entire schedule. Okay, so it will bring out all our strings. You can see everything will be brought out here, and so it's like a summary. You can basically know all that is involved in your entire design. Gauge long span aluminium ridge cap. How many of this do I have? I have one. Roofing sheets, I have one. Okay, so let's go to our scale. So I can scale the whole of this now without scaling just one at a time. Let's say I want to scale the entire blocks that we have here. So if I highlight all of this, all I need to do is just to I will type in ASC and I'll highlight, so it can scale each of them for us, to scale all of them. So I will highlight all of them like this and I'll press enter. Now it's asking me for the scale, so I can type in a scale. You can see the scale there is 0.5. Let's say I want to scale it at 0.25. That's basically half of that. You can see it has become more smaller than what I have. So I will do my Ctrl Z. So I can also scale this and make it bigger. So let's type ASC and I will press enter. You can as well come to your settings here and do some little settings. Let's say I want it to scale from the middle, so I can select this middle now. If you want it from the bottom, from the top, so that's basically all you need. From the top left, from the left, from the bottom left, okay, from the top right, from the right, from the bottom right. So however you want it to scale from. So if I want it to scale from the middle, I will just click on OK, and then I will highlight the object, and automatically is going to scale all of them for us. So let's say I want to scale this by 1.25, so it's going to be bigger than, basically this is what we will have now. So that is how to scale all of this. And let's say I want to do an auto rotate. So if I want to actually rotate all of this, automatically it will help us rotate all of them to whatever angle. So let's say I highlight all of I will type in ART, and then I will highlight them. Now it will now ask me for the angle, so I will type 90 degree for example. You can see it has rotated all of this for me. So if I type ART, you can as well even go to your settings, basically just like that of scale that we use, and you can do all of that setting from here. So let's say I want to mirror all of this. To mirror this now, I will type AMI and I'll press enter. Then I will highlight the object I want to mirror, and now it will ask me for the first point of mirror line. So I will just, if I click here and I take it down, it's going to mirror it the opposite of this direction basically. So you can see that's basically what to do. So automatically it has mirrored that for us. And then the next, all right, next one here, I'll show you how to fix a non-auto line. Okay, if you check this line very well, you can discover, you will see that this line is actually not straight as the way these ones are. So to fix this, I can just type my XGZ and I'll press enter. Now it will ask me to select a line. So if I want to make this one to align with this, all I need to do is to select here. So I Ctrl Z. Let's say I want this side to align with this side, so I will use my XGZ, enter. So if I click here now, you can see this one has adjusted to this point. So this is basically how to achieve that. Okay, all right, the next tool we are going to be looking at is the filter. Okay, now if you look at this, we have short small lines like this that are not useful in this drawing. This is actually very common when you are trying to do a structural design. You are trying to come up with your general arrangement. In the process of trying to clean up the architectural drawings, for those who are engineers will understand what I'm saying. When you're trying to clean up those drawings, you discover there are some little lines, sometimes probably coming from maybe the window, probably coming from the door and all that. So these short small lines, when you want to clean them up, is actually very time demanding, trying to trace them and delete them one by one. So you can actually use a tool called the LC, which is your filter. So if I type my LC now and I press enter, you can see here it says remove points, empty text, short lines, short polylines, enter the minimum desired length. So I can remove all of this, points, empty text and all that, from my drawings in order for it to look more cleaner than what we have. Now to do that, once I type my LC and I press enter, it will tell me, now the command here, it says enter the minimum desired length. So let's say I want this to, because if you look at this from here, this line is a bit shorter than the one I have here. So I am going to make it in a way that this line is going to be the minimum length. So by the time I select this as my minimum length, even this one will also be taken care of. So if I do that, I will highlight this drawing. Once I highlight this drawing, and I will press enter, or I will right click. Once I do that, you can see all that line has actually automatically been taken off. So this is basically how to take care of that. All right, the next tool now I'm going to show you is how to actually create a boundary. Okay, so if you click this now, you can see all of these are separate lines. They are not connected in any way. So I can create a boundary that this one will be a boundary, this one will be a boundary, this will be a boundary. It's very simple. Basically all I need to do is just to type my NLK command. If I type NLK and I'll press enter, and then I will highlight all of it and I will right click or press enter, and then it's actually automatically going to create a boundary for us. Now you can see those boundaries have been selected, and then I can just escape. If I click on escape, you can see these are separate box, separate in the shape of a rectangle, right? So the last tool I'm going to be showing you in this particular episode is, so division is actually the last one I'll be showing in this particular episode. So if I type my DF and I press enter, you can see it's telling me break curve. So however, I can actually specify whether I want it to be in double lines. You can see the preview here showing me double lines, but let's say I want this in single lines, and then the gap of double lines, you can measure, however, the length. If I click on measure now, it can I can just click, let's say this is basically what I want to use as the measurement. Okay, so but I wouldn't want to do that. I just want to specify the gap in between each of them. So I can specify the gap by just typing the value, and then the length, the line length, I can specify the length of that particular line. So if I click on OK, all I need to do is just to click on the part where I want this to be. So if I try to measure this now, it will tell me the particular height of this particular line. Okay, so this is basically how to achieve that. You can as well measure to check at what length you want this particular line should go. The gap in between each of these lines can be specified as well. So if I type in my DF, let's say I want to use a double line, and then now the double gap of the double line now is what I need to specify. Let's say I want it to be 1 meter. Sorry, I will copy this line downward and let me have DF, enter, and then all I need to do is specify the gap in between these two lines, double line. So it's going to be 3 meters gap in between them, and then all I need to do now is to press, and then the height of that line is 5 meters. All I need to do is to press OK, and you can see what I have. So if I try to measure this now, and I'll press OK. So I will measure this now to see what the gap between these two lines is. You can see it's 3 meters. Okay. So another good thing is it can actually be achieved on a shape like this. So if I type in my DF and I press enter, the gap between the two lines, let's say I just want to use a normal single line, so I can divide them, and then the height of each of this line is 1 meter height. You can see here is equal. Now I can make it fixed, so the fixed length can actually be specified. Let's say the fixed length is 2 meters, and then the height is 5 meters. You know, because I'm not using a double line here, so this is very irrelevant at this moment. So, or let me just make it double line, and then I'll press OK, and I can select this. Once I select this now, you can actually do a measurement to check what the distance is. So you can see double line here, double line here, double line here, double line here. So let me use